We are gathered here today to learn All in the Suit That You Wear by Stone Temple Pilots for Neil Churchill, and Neil Churchill. I didn't check, but he said that there is not a single video on this song and that this is my chance to be a hero, in which case, I choose Quail Man. But I hope this video doesn't leave you feeling helpless and stupefied. Alright, so put your underwear on the outside of your pants and put your guitar into drop D, so our low E string is now a low D string. Right, and the first tinkly chord that we hear Dean doing is a variation on a D minor 7 chord. It's open D, G5, B6, and open E, and you can just pluck away down those strings and then B, G. So and then you give it a low open D power chord in drop D. That's easy. It's just open D, well now D, right? A and D. Dad. Then 12th fret. Make a lazy slide down to 3rd fret. And then 2 opens, followed by 12, 11, 12. Before it goes into the fill, it does not go back up to the 12. It stops on 11 because that's all you have. That's all the time you have before you go. And I'm very sorry to report that Dean goes. There's one live video of Dean doing this, and he went as drop D power chords now. That's all the fat strings in the same fret. 3, 5, 7, 10, 12, 10, 7. I can't even do it. What it is. If that's too much moving up and down for you, too much precision, I'm gonna choose going 3, 5, and then open A string, 3, 5, 3, open. I mean, almost just as good. They're not power chords, those last bunch of notes, but it's much easier to do, especially at speed, rather than, which I suppose if I practiced it I could do it, but you can practice it and do it. Dean loves his flat fifths, and this part is a perfect example. Grab a D power chord on the A string, 5th fret, D string 7, and G7 as well. And the 5th in this power chord is your ring finger on the D string 7th fret. Take your ring finger off and put your middle finger on the D string 6th fret. That is a flatted 5th, and you're going to start with this. We got 5, 6, 7, but the ring finger needs to be ready to go back to regular D power chord. You're going to be all... That's one place to do that. You can also do that down here. It's the exact same thing. If you go from your D power chord, which looks suspiciously like most of a D chord, open D string, G2, B3, and now the 5th is the G string, so you could lower it by 1 fret there, and then you can go... in the aforementioned live video, Dean was here, but you can be here. It's the same thing. You're going to do that. Followed by the fill. However you want to do it. Followed by a G. There's a bunch of options for G, but one of them is not your regular G chord because we're in drop D now, so this is no longer a G note. This is an F note. So if you want to play it here... I don't know how Dean played it. The camera person was not focused on Dean when he did, but it was definitely a G. Really sounded like this G to me, but it's only my just best guess. It's definitely a G. You could do G without the low string. You could do G as a drop D power chord on the 5th fret. You could add a 3rd into that if you went 5, 5, 5 with middle ring pinky and 4 with pointer finger on G string. That's another option. I can't imagine why you'd want to do that one. Or you can use your pointer finger to grab the B string 3rd fret for... then we have open G, which of course is in our G chord, and a D on the 3rd fret of the B string. So, I'm going to do this. sorry. I obsessed for a long time on the rhythm of that flat fifth action exactly, and I think I heard it different every time I heard it, so I was clearly hallucinating. I thought one time I heard it go back down before it starts the routine over again, so the D string will go 6, 7, 7, 6, 6, 7, 7, 7. It would stay up the second time. I thought I heard it go 6, 7, 7, 5. But I kind of started, I was so deep into it that I kind of started hearing it different every single time I heard it. So I'm going to keep it simple and just go 6, 7, 6, 7. But you can mess around with that to your heart's content about where, listen to it and see when you think it goes back down and goes back up. Up to you. I just listen one more time now that it's marinated. I have a final guess. This is my final guess. D string. 6, 7, 7, 5, 6, 7, 7, 7. 6, 7, 7, 5, 6, 7, 7, 7. So, my pointer finger's just barring that D string 5th fret. And stays up the second. Final guess. Oh, of course, but down here that would be the G string 1st fret, 2nd fret, open, 1, 2. 1, 2, open, 1, 2. You just can't do that riff without completing it. And we're to the chorus. You're gonna go drop D power chords on the 8th fret, 10th fret, and then open 12, 3, 5, 3, open 12, 3, 5, 3 for the first time. For the second time, it starts the same, 8, but now we're going to make a D shape on the fat strings. It's going to be 9, 10, 9. It sounds like a diminished power chord of some sort, which I suppose is a contradiction of terms, but applies sort of nonetheless. 8, funny D shape, and then the open 12, 3, 5, 3, open 12, 3, 5, 3, followed by the first one. Into the verse. But in that live video, there were just enough tinkly strings Dean was doing. He was not doing that for that part when they played it live that one time. Who knows what he did other times, right? But what he was doing was playing a B flat chord. He was playing A1, D3, and B3 with open G, open E, and he kind of, like sloppy arpeggiated away on that. And then that B flat note goes up to C, like with our power chords when we went from B flat to C, and my guess is that he kept ring finger, pinky finger, and just made that bass note a C, so then you end up with, on the A string, 3, 3, open, 3, open. I could hear enough to confirm the A string, the G string, the B string, and the E string about that, but the only thing I can't tell you for sure is whether or not it was just regular old C add 9 starting on the A string 3, 2, and then B3 with open E, which doesn't make it any more or less C add 9. You could do that if you want, but that just seems too obvious for Dean. So let's go with the first thing I said. Our special B flat chord with the open G and E strings. Bass note becomes C. And then he went to our D minor 7 from the intro. And then for the different one, the one that was 8, 9, 10, 9, he went our special B flat chord. And then the bass note's just going up 1 fret to B. So now we have A2, D3, B3. So, whole chorus. Oof, that attempt was bad. So, whole chorus in this fashion. bridge comes out of the next chorus. Everything's the same up to that point. So the last thing of the next chorus is 8, 10, and then you just hit a low D while you D minor 7 away, and then the bass does the end of the chorus riff just as the bass. So do whichever parts of those you want to do there. And then the last chorus is 4 things long, so you do the first thing and then the second thing and then the first thing and then the second thing. 8, 10, followed by the 8, weird 1, followed by the 8, 10, followed by the 8, weird 1, and then it ends on... just ended on a low D power chord. Awesome. We did it. Last thing I have to say is I am now 100% confident about my assessment of D string 6, 7, 7, 5. 6, 7, 7, 7. The thing I said last. So do it that way. And Neil, thank you so very much for the request. Thank you for bothering me over and over again. I mean that. I'm glad we got this one done. Everybody else, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time with more stuff, and I hope that was helpful. Goodbye.